this new concept of land warfare, it became necessary to develop a piece of equipment which could operate not only on land, but in the water as well. This led to the increased use of a lighter protective shield. That was
fine, General, right up to the place where you picked up the wrong model. This is the one you should have used. Let's take 5 and then we'll try it again.
That just shows you what can happen even if you spent over 20 years in close contact with this sort of equipment. Of course, models are somewhat different from the full-size item. It also shows what will happen if you don't pay strict attention to what you're doing. It's also a rather sneaky way to slip in a plug for the Zero Defects program. If I picked up the right model, it wouldn't be necessary to take the scene again. In this case, it happens that the additional expense is negligible and not too much time will be lost. But an accumulation of little additional expenses and little time here added to a little time there, these all add up to some rather startling figures. We have in the Test and Evaluation Command an interesting and also a rather unique problem as far as the Zero Defects program is concerned. Outside of test reports, we do not actually produce anything. However, we can make mistakes, which in the long run costs us one of the most valuable commodities there is, time. And the more you think of it, the more valuable this item time gets to be. It is the one thing which can never be replaced, and once it is spent, it can never be brought back. In entering into participation in the Zero Defects program, we must adopt the attitude that anything worth doing is worth doing well, and we must strive to do it right the first time. It may be a trite observation, but it is so true that many people always have the time to do a thing over again, but so few people have the time to do it right in the first place. There are so many areas which we work in TCOM that it would be almost impossible to mention them all. But if each one of us made an all-out effort to do things right the first time, regardless of what we are doing, we could contribute enormously to the AMC and the Army Zero Defects program. Now in TCOM, there are 2 ways in which we can achieve results in the program. First, I can follow my staff and commanders to ensure no mistakes on their part. They in turn could attempt to follow their top management people, who also could be followed. But you can see that would be impossible. No, the basic philosophy and guidance of the program can be disseminated in this manner, from the top down. But the program itself must start at the other end, with the person who actually does the work. I wish that I could talk to each of you individually and in person, but that would be completely impossible. Through the medium of this film, I would like to appeal to each of you, just as I would if we could talk person to person. Each of us, whether we admit it or not, has a desire to do a job in the best way possible. We also like to have this fact recognized by our fellow workers and supervisors. What I am asking you to do is to resolve that you will do your absolute best at all times, and that you will take pride in so doing. We must remember that generally mistakes are made by people who just do not care. If we all start caring just a bit more, we are well on our way. Man has a basic desire to be proud of his work. The Zero Defects program offers you a challenge to demonstrate your pride in your performance. And I feel that each member of TCOM should accept that challenge of his own free will. Once you've taken up this challenge, nothing should stand in your way. Errors are caused by a lack of knowledge, improper facilities, and a poor attitude. If a man endeavors to increase his knowledge of his job, he will automatically eliminate any tendency to hide behind the complaint of poor facilities. He will bring the inadequate facility to the attention of the proper best to suggest improvements for those facilities. Supervisors and management, of course, must give the worker what he needs. Once these two causes of defects are eliminated, then the worker's attitude is bound to improve. Finally, we must recognize one prime factor. For all the individual's dedication, education, and up-to-date tools, he cannot do defect-free work all by himself. He must have constant reminders of the fact that his job is important and that his efforts are appreciated. He must be reassured that what he is doing is worthwhile. On top of all this, he must be given recognition once he has adopted the right attitude and once his work has reached the desired plateau of zero defects. Of equal importance all along the way is the dedication of management, the equal dedication of the supervisors, and the universal philosophy that for the most successful participation in the Zero Defects program, there is only one creed to follow: do it right the first time. To accomplish this, we must all have the proper individual attitude. Instead of thinking only big, we must think quality. The best is often done too good, so why should we settle for less than the best? In TECON, let's make our slogan QTMZD. Quality thinking means zero defects. Well, I think I'd better get back to my models and do it right this time.